Shut up! This is what happens when you try to think. We're to be through.
Okay, let's be real, guys. Villains today aren't as ruthless as they used to be. These days, everyone's getting a redemption arc. The biggest, baddest villains suddenly break down over their tragic past, or pull a last-minute, I'm actually not that bad twist. But Toy Story 3? Oh no, Pixar wasn't playing around. They gave us Lotso, a villain so rotten to the core that even when he had every opportunity to change, he chose pure evil instead. He's built, well, differently. No redemption, no sympathy, just a stuffed dictator ruling a daycare with an iron fist. Lotso isn't like Scar, who at least had charisma, or Darth Vader, who ultimately found redemption. Lotso is manipulative, ruthless, and completely irredeemable, which is exactly why he's one of Pixar's best villains. In this video, we're breaking down what makes Lotso the perfect irredeemable villain. We will explore his backstory and why it doesn't make him sympathetic, his actions, and how they prove he's pure evil even when given chances to change. And finally, how to write a villain just as irredeemable as Lotso. Because let's face it, sometimes a villain doesn't need a sad backstory to be evil. Sometimes they're just bad to the stuffing. At first glance, Lotso might seem like one of those tragic villains with a sad backstory that justifies his actions. And yeah, Pixar tries to pull a little emotional trick on us here. We see a flashback of Lotso once being loved, adored, and treated as the favorite toy of a little girl named Daisy. But then, boom, betrayal. Or at least, that's how he sees it.
But by then, it was too late.
Daisy accidentally leaves Lotso behind during a family trip. When he finally makes it back home, exhausted and dirty, he sees Daisy hugging a new Lotso bear as if he never existed. That moment shatters him. He realizes toys are replaceable, and that's when his heart, stuffing, turns to stone. On paper, this might seem like the perfect villain origin story. But here's the problem. Lotso didn't just become bitter. He became a full-blown tyrant. He didn't just accept that Daisy moved on. He twisted the experience into a universal truth. If I can't be loved, nobody should be. Instead of finding a new home or dealing with his emotions, he makes other toys at Sunnyside his slave. And most importantly, he had a choice. He could have processed his pain in a healthier way, like Jesse did in Toy Story 2, but he chose power and control instead. A redeemable villain has a past that makes you feel for them. An irredeemable villain has a past that just makes you understand why they're terrible, but not excuse it. And Lotso, he's the latter. All right, we get it. Lotso had a rough moment in his past, but instead of learning, healing, or even just sulking like a normal abandoned toy, he turns into the furry equivalent of a mob boss. The moment Woody and the gang arrive at Sunnyside Daycare, Lotso seems warm, welcoming, even wise. He's got that friendly grandpa energy, making him the perfect manipulator. He smothers them in kindness and tells them they're in paradise. And then, boom, Lotso's mask drops and the truth comes out. Lotso isn't running a daycare, he's running a prison. New toys like Woody and Buzz sent to the Caterpillar Room, where toddlers will destroy them. Anyone who tries to escape, punished. Rex even gets the classic prisoner spotlight treatment when trying to leave. Dissenters, locked up, beaten, and thrown in the box. Toys he finds useful, like Ken, allowed to live in luxury, creating a hierarchy based on obedience. But Lotso's evil goes beyond just running a stuffed animal prison. He's also a master manipulator. He brainwashes Buzz by resetting him to factory mode, turning one of the movie's heroes into his personal enforcer. He preys on the fears of other toys, convincing them they need him to survive. He pretends to be just another broken toy, using his past to gain sympathy while keeping himself in power. And here's the kicker. Lotso never has a moment of doubt. Even when Woody and the gang risk their lives to save him, even when he could finally redeem himself, he doesn't. At the climax, when the toys are seconds away from burning in the incinerator, Lotso has a golden opportunity. He could push the button and save them. But what does he do? He smirks, he betrays them, and he leaves them to die. That's when you know Lotso is beyond saving. Some villains hesitate in their evil. Lotso, he doubles down. And that's what makes him so evil. His actions aren't about revenge on Daisy anymore. They're about power, control, and cruelty for its own sake. He's not a lost toy. He's a dictator, and he loves it. But before we continue, I want to ask for your help. I'm trying to reach 500 subs, so I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and help me out. And unlike Lotso, I won't manipulate you into doing it. Alright, let's get back to the chaos. A lot of villains get a last-minute, "Wait, am I the bad guy?" moment. Darth Vader, Kylo Ren, even freaking Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. All of them have a moment of reflection that either redeems them or makes you at least consider it. Lotso, not a chance. Pixar could have easily given him a moment where he realizes, "Oh no, I've become the very thing I hate." But they didn't. And that's why he works as a truly irredeemable villain. Throughout Toy Story 3, Lotso is handed multiple chances to be better. And every single time, he chooses cruelty. When Woody and the gang escape Sunnyside, they save him from being shredded alive. When he stands by the button at the incinerator, he has a clear opportunity to do the right thing. Instead of choosing kindness, he laughs at them and leaves all the toys to die. A redeemable villain might at least hesitate. Lotso doesn't. He goes all in on being a monster. Even after being abandoned himself, he never gains empathy. Instead, he wants everyone to suffer just as much as he did. The biggest clue that he's irredeemable? His final angry words to Woody and the gang.
"Woody, look! I can see daylight! We're gonna be okay!"
Push it! Where's your kid now, Sheriff?
Even at the end, when he could have reflected on his mistakes, he still chooses bitterness. Lotso doesn't get a redemption arc. He gets exactly what he deserves. Instead of dying like a hero, apologizing, or getting a tragic ending, he's strapped to the front of a garbage truck, doomed to a life of getting smacked by the wind and bugs. And you know what? In my opinion, that is the perfect ending for him. Lotso isn't a villain who needed saving. He's a villain who chose evil time and time again. And that's why his ending is so satisfying. It's his karma. Not every villain needs to be misunderstood. Sometimes a bad guy is just bad. And Lotso, he's as rotten as they come. However, let's be honest, Lotso is awful, but we love watching him be awful. There's something deeply satisfying about a villain who fully embraces their evil without a hint of regret, if you ask me. But why do we love hating characters like Lotso? In my opinion, they make the heroes shine brighter. A great hero needs a worthy villain. And when that villain is completely irredeemable, the contrast makes the hero even more powerful. For example, when Woody and the gang stay loyal to each other, while Lotso throws everyone under the bus. In Toy Story, Woody and Buzz grow. Lotso never does. There's also something fun about a villain who goes all in on their cruelty. They're not bogged down by tragic backstories or moral dilemmas. They just own their evilness and run with it. Just like the Joker in The Dark Knight and Jack Horner in Puss in Boots. Lotso fits right in with these villains. He's not secretly good, misunderstood, or a victim. He's just a giant stuffed dictator with a superiority complex. When a villain is fully irredeemable, it means we don't have to feel bad when karma finally catches up to them. Lotso betrays everyone, plays dirty, and spends the entire movie crushing others beneath him. So when he ends up strapped to the front of a truck, powerless and abandoned, it feels like justice. And that's the magic of irredeemable villains. We don't want them to change. We don't need them to have a tragic, heartfelt ending. We just want to watch them fall. So you want to write a villain as deliciously evil as Lotso? A bad guy so unapologetically rotten that audiences love to hate them? Well, here's how to do it. 1. Give them a selfish motivation. A truly irredeemable villain isn't driven by noble intentions. They aren't fighting for justice or trying to save the world in their own twisted way. Lotso's motivation isn't revenge on Daisy or finding a new home. It's pure control. He wants power because it makes him feel untouchable. The best irredeemable villains are like this. They don't justify their evil, they just enjoy it. 2. Make them manipulative and deceptive. Lotso doesn't just rule through fear, he tricks people into trusting him first. That's what makes him so dangerous. For example, when he acts like a kind leader to lure in new toys, when he exploits Buzz's programming to turn him into an enforcer, and even when he tells Big Baby a fake story to keep him loyal. A villain should be a master manipulator, someone who pretends to be good just long enough to get what they want. Think of villains like Hans from Frozen or Jack Horner from Puss in Boots, the ones who smile while they stab you in the back. 3. Remove the redeemable qualities. A lot of villains have one tiny redeeming trait. Maybe they love their family, have a soft spot for animals, or hesitate before doing something truly evil. Lotso? Nothing. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. Even when Woody and the gang risk their lives to save him, he still betrays them. No empathy, no second thoughts, and they don't get a last-minute, "Oops, my bad" moment. 4. Give them an ending that fits their evil. Lotso doesn't get a hero's death. He doesn't sacrifice himself or apologize. He gets strapped to a garbage truck, which is a fitting end for someone like Lotso. There is no cliffhanger hinting he might return. He just, well, loses. Lotso is proof that not every villain needs a redemption arc. Some villains, Darth Vader, Zuko, even Megamind, are great because they change. But others, like Lotso, are powerful because they refuse to. He had every opportunity to turn things around. He could have let go of his past, chosen kindness, or even just repaid the toys who saved him. But he didn't. He doubled down on his cruelty, proving that he wasn't a victim of his circumstances. He was a monster by choice. And that's what makes an irredeemable villain work. No hesitation, no regret, just pure, unapologetic evil. A great irredeemable villain never changes, never grows, and never learns. And that's what makes them so terrifying. So if you want to write a villain like Lotso, don't be afraid to go all in. Give them power, make them manipulative, and most importantly, never let them change. Because sometimes, evil is just evil. If you enjoyed watching Lotso be the absolute worst, make sure to drop your favorite villain in the comments. Just don't expect Lotso to care. He's too busy getting smashed by bugs.